So once you're done assigning IP addresses to these equipment without doing any special configuration, you have just assigned IP addresses, no basic configuration. I'll open my PC, go to desktop, and then click command prompt. I'll open my PC, go to desktop, and then click on command. We need to verify that our switch PCA can be able to communicate with switch 1 and router 1. To do that, I'll say ping 209.165.200.225. That's the identity of the router. So I'll first of all ping my router. To confirm it's working. After pinging a router, you can also ping your switch. Use the up arrow on your keyboard to recall the command ping and then edit from on your far right. Instead of 225 you write 226 because that's the only difference on that command, and then you press enter. So on a switch you might lose the first packet, but the rest will be okay. Normally it takes a while on the first one, so you can see there's a lost ping message, but the rest are okay. But it's okay. It's usually for first time communication. If you redo the ping for a switch, it will be now 100% successful. You can see now ping loss is zero. So yes. Previously we had lost one packet, but right now we have lost only zero messages. Yes. After you've done your things, what you're supposed to do now is you try to do a remote access. Remember, when we talk about direct connection, we normally introduce the blue cable. When you packet tracer and the connection, you will see the blue console cable. We normally introduce it between the router and the console, and then the PC and the RS-232. That's how we introduce a console cable. The first blue cable doesn't really send data. The core function of it is to send to introduce a monitor for the router so that you can see what the command line structure of the router while you're on the PC. So you can send instructions or you can type instructions of the router. But when you introduce the crossover and the straight-through cables between the equipment, now this makes this one now places the PC in the same category as the router and the switch. But the console cable makes the PC a monitor for the router or a switch if you introduce that between any of the two devices. So right now we haven't introduced the console cable. We have a cable that connects. So PC is a participant in the network between router and the switch. So right now we want to introduce the screen without introducing a console cable. So it's like you want to configure a router. You're here in Nairobi. Um, you're here in Nairobi. You want to configure your device maybe in Cairo or in Kampala, Uganda. So you have to remotely access that device because you can introduce a console cable from country A to country Z. So you want to remotely access those devices. So to do that, you can be able to use telnet or SSH. Remember the core difference between the two is that telnet is unsecure, and SSH is secure, meaning SSH is secure shell. So you want to do the two. To do the unsecure connection, we normally say telnet 209.165.200.225. We request a session called telnet. Remember, telnet is a port number. We can use port number. Which port number? We have 22 and 23. So 22 is SSH, telnet is 23. So we can say, we can't say, but we know telnet is 23. So whenever you type telnet, your machine will request for services for port 23. So we have port 2, we are requesting port 23 on destination 209.165.200.225. If you press enter, you'll be told closed by foreign hosts. You'll immediately get a pop-up saying closed by foreign host. Why? We haven't activated remote access on router 1 or switch 1. We haven't activated remote access. Even if we try for the switch, we'll get the same response. We are yet to activate remote access on these two equipments. So we need to learn how to do that. Yes, so we start with telnet. We start with telnet. So now let me type on my notepad the configurations. So R1 telnet config. So to do telnet config, these are the instructions that you need to start with. So I'll enable, if it's under the greater sign, and then config terminal. So config terminal is basically the global configuration mode, where now you shall say line DTY 0 to 4 is the router. Zero, this means we are creating 5 virtual interfaces. Virtual interface 0, virtual interface 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are 5 virtual interfaces. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are 5 virtual interfaces that we have created. So 5 remote users can simultaneously access this device. So that's what we have done. So you can say 0 to 90, you can create as many remote access interfaces, but on Cisco devices, the recommended number is 0 to 4. On a Cisco switch is usually 0 to 15. So those are 16 interfaces, virtual interfaces. So remember to do that. And then we can say password. Password, I'll give it Cisco. The password, I'll give it Cisco. So remember, password, I can give it Cisco. So this is to request those individuals to, this is the password they will input whenever they try to do a remote access. And then after the password, you see login. Login normally just, this one now will prompt the users to produce their passwords. Without the login command, they won't be requested for a password. So you have to put the login command to always request users, anybody doing a remote access, to produce a password. We have login. So the rest are not really relevant for telnet. They are really relevant for telnet, but you have to configure them. We normally configure them under the line VTY. These are just other features that will allow our virtual interface to work efficiently, but they're not necessary, but they're important. So you say login, synchronous. Now this one normally on a live network you get lots of pop-ups appearing telling you about a mismatch somewhere, issue somewhere, and so on. So you don't want those pop-ups affecting your line of configuration. You want your line of configuration to be left intact. So when you type, you can type using your own preferred speed. So if you don't put login synchronous, like pop-ups that are appearing on your command line interface, they will be carrying any word you try to type. You type an L, the pop-up goes with the L. So yes, it's very important. It's good to type it. It will assist you not to get those issues. But on a dormant network like the one that you have, you don't have a lot of pop-ups. You might even not have pop-ups. So yes, you might not see the value, but it's important to type that command. Exact time out. Exact timeout. You can see after 30 minutes. Normally we put Good. Small number. We can give it 30 minutes because you don't want, in case of any issue arising in your environment, and then you get distracted, and then you try to go and assist, and then an intruder within the minutes you're trying to assist, they come to your machine and be able to do some unauthorized access and try to collect information or manipulate your network. So it's good to put an idle timer of a small, maybe 60 seconds if somebody is idle, or if you're idle under the remote access for a period of maybe 60 seconds, that's 1 minute, then it locks itself. But that's still a lot. I mean, you put 30 seconds. To put 30 seconds, I'll just take it 0 and then 30, meaning what? 0 minutes, 30 seconds. So, but in this scenario, we'll just see 30 minutes, 30 seconds because of learning purpose. 30 minutes, 30 seconds. Yes, so these are just notification commands for the telnet, but the key one for the telnet is 9VTY04, and then the password is Cisco, and then the login. Then the login. The login is very important. So we do this on our router. So I'll open my router one. Open my router one. Router one. I'll say enable, which is EN short form. Configure terminal short form. I can say config T space T, and then I'll say line VTY 0 space 4. Created now officially created for 5 virtual interfaces. I will give them a password. So I'll say pass Cisco. Case sensitive, don't put a character or a space after Cisco. It will assume the space is a character. Remember that. It will assume space is a character. So just add the word Cisco and then you leave it up. Use small case so that I can remember. And then I say login. I say login to activate the password so that somebody can be requested for a password under the remote access. And then login. The word login has two double G's, remember. It's not the same as the one for activating the password. Login synchronous. After login synchronous, now I can officially say exit timeout. I say 30. But remember, don't put that in real life. It's not practical. Hey, that's a lot of minutes to leave your window idle. Even your mobile phones, you normally don't do that. So I'll say end, and then I'll write. Write is to save, or else you can say copy. Write is to save, or else you can say copy. Copy running. This is the information on the running config to start up. Okay, so startup config is on the NV run, and then I confirm. The first enter is to execute the command. The second one is to confirm the information that will be given. For example, this new file will be startup hyphen config. Yes. So I've already said my work. I've already said my work now. I'll try to do my channel. I'll try to do my channel so that I see if it actually works. I'll try to do my channel to see if it actually works. So I'll open my PC. I'll go to desktop, and the PC I'll go to desktop, and the desktop I'll go to command prompt. PC desktop command prompt. So this is what I'm saying. So let me just redo the process from scratch. So go to PC. So there's tabs on top. I'll say desktop. So on top we'll see several tabs. So I'll say desktop. And the desktop, I'll look for command prompt. I'll click on command prompt. And the command prompt, I'll do a telnet. I'll do up arrow until I find the IP address of the router because I've only activated the VTY interface on the router. So I'll say telnet to 225, enter. And then we'll see, they will request me for a password. So I'll say Cisco. So don't panic when you type and you're not able to see anything. It's actually writing down what you're saying. So yes, your keyboard is working perfectly, so don't panic. So just type the word Cisco, no space after the word Cisco. Remember, if you had initially placed a space after the word Cisco, then you need to redo You need to add the space because it's a character. And then it will take you to router 1 greater sign. So now I'm under the command line interface of the router while on the PC. So you can see, you can be able to see PCA. So I'm able to configure the router while on the what? On this PC. The only issue is if I continue, maybe I say enable, if I say enable, you'll be able to see it saying no password set. No password set. Why? This is not good enough. You have to exit. Under the global configuration mode, you say enable password, and then you say class. Class is the password. This is the privileged executive level password. Without that, somebody who's doing a remote access cannot be able to go past the user executive mode. So you have to configure on that equipment the privileged executive password. To configure the privileged executive password, you have two options. You can use enable password as the command, or you can use enable secret. Back to basics. Enable password or enable secret. If you replace the word password with the word secret, the word password normally saves its data in plain text. So if somebody came to your router and did a show running configuration, that individual would be able to see your passwords on your router, the ones that you have saved. If you used secret instead of the word password, it will encrypt your passwords. So somebody, even if that person tries to say show run, that person won't be able to see the passwords, they'll be encrypted. So I'll prefer, instead of you using enable password class, I'll prefer you use the word enable secret. And then you put what? And then you put class as the secret or as the password. Yes, remember, class is the password, enable secret is the command. So we can't do it on the PC because the PC can't be able to reach that level on the router. So we have to leave the PC manually and then go back to the router and go back to the router. On the router, I'll say on the router, I'll type what? Config terminal, because I have to be under the global configuration mode. So there is no order. You can type a command anytime, anywhere. So, but make sure you, not anywhere, anytime, but on specific levels. So I can say enable, space, question mark. If I query a question mark, you'll be able to see the option of password and the option of secret. So it's upon you to decide which one you want to use. If, for instance, you had made a mistake and wrote password for all your passwords, you can later on encrypt them using a command called service password encryption. You guys remember back in basic configuration, there is a command called service password encryption. It normally encrypts all passwords that were written in plain text using the command password. So it's a secret. It's a secret, and then I give it class. Enter. I'll end and then save. To save the work, I'll say write, end, so here, and end, and then write. So I can use write, or I can say copy, running, hyphen copy, space startup. Copy, startup, hyphen copy. So I can use either of the I can use both of them. That's just the same command. And then I'll go back to my PC, PCA, and then I say command prompt. I go back to my PCA, command prompt. Because my session never ended, I'll retry the word enable again. I'll try the word enable. Remember, I'm on the PC. That's the thing that I want to do to remember. I'll try the word enable. It will ask me for a password. The second password is class. This one. Second password is class. I'm now on the privileged executive mode. I can say config 2. I can officially be able now to completely configure this, configure that router while on the PC. While on the PC. Once you've learned how to do an SSH, you need to learn how to, a telnet, you need now to learn how to do an SSH. So I'll end, I'm on the PC. Remember guys, I'm on the PC. I'll exit. I want to exit the router command line interface. So you can see connection to 209.165.200.225 by 4 I've actually left the command line interface of the router. I'm back to my normal PC. I'm back to my normal PC. On my PC, I can try an SSH minus L and then normally username. So the instructions won't really work because we haven't configured SSH. So I need to first of all configure SSH on the router. I need to configure SSH on the router. So the next step is SSH on the router. And say R1, R1, SSH config. So to configure SSH, what I can say is we enable config terminal, enable secret. You can use secret, remember, and then you say class. So that's the first time. You, on the telnet, I needed to showcase to you the importance of the enable secret class. That's why we did it later. On the SSH, because you already know the importance of it. Even in SSH, you have to do that command. It's mandatory. And then you go to username. So in SSH, you have to create the username and password. You can say username admin and then password. I say admin. So that's all the options. The second option is username. I say admin and then privilege. The privilege is usually 15 by default. This one gives you the administrator privilege and then password admin. These two commands are the same. These two commands are the same. Username admin, password admin is the same as saying username admin, privilege 15, password admin. The thing that is not present on the first one is the privilege. If you do not mention the privilege by default, that username is given a privilege of administrator. Any, without even using the word admin. If I will have used username Joseph, password Joseph, then it will have assumed the privileges of an administrator of 15. If I wanted to reduce the privilege levels, the levels that I want this username to reach, I can reduce them to 1. Yes, you want to reduce them even to 1. I can even give that username a privilege of 4. Yes. But for now, we want them to have administrator's privilege. So don't do the 2, you can choose 1. Both of them are the same. After creating the username and the password, another thing under security is that the host name cannot be the default name of the router. If the router is called router by default, you need to change the name from router to R1. So right now I'm assuming people have already done that. So that's why I didn't mention it, but it's good to mention it. Security doesn't take place on an interface like this field under default configuration. So we needed to have changed to the host name. So enable configure terminal hostname R1, enable secret class, very important secret class, and then you create a username and a password. After username and a password, we need to create a database to store this information, whereby somebody is doing an SSH where we normally check the local database. So you say call it IP domain hyphen name. I'll call it ssh.com. Not a must. I use ssh.com. I can use any word, but for me, all my domain names, I normally give them ss.com, a certain word.com, so that I can remember for learning purposes. So whenever we have errors under ssh.com, I'm 100% sure able to know it's a what? It's a domain name pertaining the SSH. After creating the domain,
Mwalimu, you are breaking, Mwalimu.
you're breaking. So once you say IP domain name ssh.com, so this is a local database that will have our information. So now we can create. So there's a pattern that you need to have. There's a sequence that you're supposed to follow. Hostname must always come first. After hostname, the secret can be last, but hostname must be first. The main name must be before the crypto to generate RSA. So we're generating the RSA keys. We're generating the RSA keys, and then you press enter. It will request. It will request you for modulus, and then under the modulus you can say 10, 24. So under the modulus, depending on the operating system that you're using, you will put an algorithm number that will encrypt that data. So the larger the number, the longer it takes. So this is what I mean. The larger the number, the longer it takes. Maybe this is the data. So this is data. Okay, data. So when you choose a smaller number, so that's the encryption. When you increase the number, the encryption increases. So even the destination device that is receiving the message will take longer to decrypt the message. So the bigger the number, the larger the encryption. So we normally choose, most of the time we find standard people usually 1024. So it doesn't necessarily mean we use 1024. I think most machines will start from 360 to around 2048. Is it 2048? No, we have 2048. For 2048 and yeah, so that number. So you can have, yeah, depending on the type of the operating system that you're using under the Cisco devices. But 1024 is good. It's not too encrypted to consume your resources as it tries to open the message with the data. So yes, so that's the number that you can use. And then you press enter. Once you press enter, you won't see anything there. So yes, so enable secret class. Username is admin, password is admin. The privilege level by default will be 15. IP domain name, so where to store this information, and then the database itself. Crypto key, we are talking about the encryption technique. We're using RSA. These are the guys that created this encryption. And then we say under that RSA, the algorithm will use number 1024. And then from there, you say line VTY0 to 4. We call out on the 5 interfaces we had created under telnet. We call out on the 5 interfaces that we had created on the telnet, or we are creating them if we had not created telnet, if we didn't do telnet, that is. And then we say, yeah, the password is already there, so our password that we want to be using is username forever and forever. So here, expect a pop-up, say SSH, version what? Version 1.99 has been created. So you get a pop-up saying SSH version 1.99 has been created. So that's all of the information that you're going to get. SSH version 1.99 has been created. Mhm. Version 1.99 has been created. So please don't panic. Version 3 is what you're supposed to use. You can manually upload it or not, but this pop-up just says SSH is up. So it's supposed to use this interface. And then I would say after that I would say what do you say? Login local. This one tells the SSH that people are going to be authenticated locally. The router has the usernames and passwords. So the router doesn't really need to redirect data to an external server or a local server on the network. So it's going to authenticate on its own. So login local, and then we say transport input. So if you get a question mark after the word transport input, you'll see the options of telnet, SSH, none. You can say telnet SSH, you can say SSH telnet. So there's several options. And then there's all. So from our class, we can say all so that it permits telnet and SSH. If you say SSH, telnet will be blocked. So in a security environment, we will advise you to use SSH so that you block the services of telnet. It's not secure. SSH is what? Secure. So you say transport input all. So that's how we do it. And then you press what? You press enter. Yes. So those are the two commands that are important under the virtual interfaces. So the login local and the transport input command. Yes. And then after that we say end, and then you write, you say your work. So I want to review the process under the router. I want to review the process under the router. Now official. So I'll move that data to the router. I'll open the router, introduce the password, which is plus. After introducing the password, which is plus, I also enable again plus. Remember the privilege executive mode is already there because we are configuring the download. It's already here. This one, the enable secret plus. The password is plus. After plus, if you have not configured the hostname, please do. Mine are already configured. You can remove it, no problem. And then I'll go to username. I'll say username, admin, privilege 15, password admin, that's it, I've done. And then I think the main name, you can use any name there, just say the form is also okay. You can even just say nothing special. And then crypto key generate, crypto key generate, RSA, press enter. Immediately see mine has the range between 360 to 2048. General purpose key. Choosing a key modulus greater than 512 may take a few minutes. So yes. So me I'll choose 1024. You can even write 2048 if you feel like. Let's say 1024. Again, gentlemen, hour 54 minutes. Remember? So we say after the 1024, we will see how generated 24 bits RSA keys. Key will be not exportable. After that, it is created with the name of created key up to the 1024. Also line VTY 0 space 4. Immediately see SSH. Version 1.99 has been created. Version 199 has been created. And then I say login local. Then I say login local. And then I say, so the login local or transport input all. There is no issue. You can start with any transport input. I'll put a question mark after the word input. I'll put a question mark after the word input so that you can see the options. You have all, none, SSH, and telnet. So for us, for this class only, we say all, and then I'll end, and then write. Then I'll end and then do it. And then write. So we're done configuring SSH. To test on the SSH, test on the SSH, test on the SSH, I'll go to my PC, to my PC, and then I'll scroll, look for what? Look for telnet SSH client, telnet SSH client. Open telnet SSH client. IP address is 209.165.200.225, and the username also admin, and then connect, and then connect. Let me see. Did I write? Okay, if I did a mistake. I will go to uh, let's do now with 165 with 225. Username is admin. That's what I'm using. One second. Password, yes, that's the first button. It's admin. Then I'm finished. Name the route. Name the route. That's one of the mechanisms to reach the router. As one of the mechanisms to reach the router. I can also, yes, I can also use the command line interface where I can say SSH space minus L, not minus one, minus L space the username is admin and then the destination 209.165.200.222. So that's how it is. And then I say admin, the password. I'm on the router. Username SSH minus L or hyphen L, the one that you want to use, the one that you prefer. Space the username that you have created. You can create several usernames. So you can use any username to log into that device. And then you say 209.165.200.225. The only extra thing I can add on the router is maybe some people might want to say SSH space question mark IP SSH space question mark and then you say version and then space question mark you say 2. So that's how you can also add information under SSH using the command IP